Someone kills your brother. Right now, you'd call the police. There'd be an arrest, a trial, a prison sentence. The whole machine turns, and you never have to lift a finger. Now take all of it away. No police, no courts, no prisons, no laws written down anywhere. Just you, the person who did it, and everyone you both know. For almost all of human history, this was the situation. So what actually happened to a murderer? And here's the answer that will surprise you. For most of our past, nobody was punished at all. Because punishment was never the point. But before we get to murder, start with something simpler. Theft. You assume stealing has always been a crime. It's the most basic one there is. But in a small mobile band, stealing barely makes sense. Nobody has a stockpile. You own what you can carry. And sharing isn't generosity, it's the rule. If you want food, you ask and you get it. So what exactly would you steal and who from? The whole category of property crime needs property first. It arrives later with granaries and herds. So what counted as wrongdoing instead? Refusing to share, hoarding, lying, cheating on a promise, bullying the group. For most of these, the response was social, gossip, shame, being frozen out until you fixed it. But that only works for small offenses. It doesn't work when someone is dead. And this is where the whole logic of justice flips. You think of murder as a crime against society, against the state. But there was no state. So a killing wasn't a crime against everyone. It was a debt owed to one family. The victim's family had lost a hunter, a mother, a pair of hands. That loss was real, and it was measurable. So the question was never how do we punish him? It was what will make this family whole again? And that changes everything about what happens next. Because if a life is a debt, then a life has a price. Many societies wrote that price down. In early medieval Europe, it had a name, Wergild. It translates roughly as man price. In the laws of Ethelbert, an English king around the year 600, there's a startling document. It's essentially a price list for the human body. A life had a set value. So did an eye, a hand, even a single tooth. Injure someone and you didn't go to prison. You paid in cattle or silver or grain, and your first instinct is probably that this is monstrous. Putting a price on a person, letting a killer buy his way out. But look closer at what that payment was actually doing. It wasn't saying a life is cheap. It was buying something desperately valuable. It was buying the end of the killing. Because if no one paid, there was only one other option: revenge. And revenge does not stop. You kill mine, I kill yours. Then your cousin kills mine. Then my brother kills back. Whole families could be locked into feuds that ran for generations. Iceland had this. Parts of the Balkans had it. Many societies did. A blood feud has no natural ending. Each round of justice creates the next injury. Payment was the only break anyone had invented. But that raises a hard question. Who sets the price? Without a judge, without a police force, who makes anyone pay anything? Among the Nuer in South Sudan, the anthropologist Evans-Pritchard described a remarkable figure. He's known as the leopard-skin chief, and the word chief is misleading. He commanded no soldiers. He couldn't force anyone to do anything. His power was different. He could offer a killer sanctuary, and he could refuse to let the matter drop. He walked between the two families again and again, pressing both sides toward a settlement. He wasn't a judge handing down a verdict. He was closer to a mediator and to an insurance agent. So let's reconstruct how one of these cases actually ended. A man kills another man in a fight. Everyone knows who did it. There's no mystery, no investigation, no trial. The victim's brothers want blood. The killer's family knows what that means, so the whole community leans in because a feud endangers everyone. The mediator goes back and forth. Days, sometimes weeks, Slowly, a number is agreed. Cattle change hands, dozens of animals, sometimes a family's entire wealth. And then comes the part that matters most. The two families eat together, publicly, in front of everyone, declaring in effect that this is finished. No prison, no execution, a transaction that closes a wound. So when did this turn into the system, you know? It changed when kings appeared. Around 4,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia, a ruler named Ur-Nammu had laws carved into stone. It's the oldest law code we have, and much of it still looks familiar: payment in silver for injuries. The old logic of compensation was being written down, not replaced, but a few centuries later, something shifted. Hammurabi's laws are famous for a line you already know: an eye for an eye. And that sounds primitive. It's usually held up as a symbol of brutal ancient justice. But notice what it actually does. The punishment is no longer negotiated between families. It's fixed in advance by the king. The victim's brothers don't decide anymore. They aren't allowed to. Something enormous just happened, and it wasn't really about fairness. The state took the right to punish away from the family and kept it for itself. That's one way historians read the birth of criminal law, not as compassion, as control. A king who monopolizes violence gets something priceless in return. A kingdom that isn't tearing itself apart. And you are still living inside both systems at once. When someone wrongs you and you sue them for damages, that is Wergild, wearing a suit, money paid to make a loss whole, the oldest idea in justice. But when someone is killed, the case isn't yours. It's the state's. And if you've ever felt that hot, physical need for someone to pay for what they did to your family, that feeling is older than every law ever written. So come back to that phone call you'd make. What you actually inherited isn't the prison, or the courtroom, or the law. It's the fact that someone else carries your rage for you. Your ancestors had to collect their own justice personally, and the cost was war between families. The cold machinery you complain about exists so that you never have to be the one holding the knife.